Good morning and welcome to Atlantic Blowout. Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events and stories through correspondence reports, experts' opinion and stakeholders' analysis. Today we'll be looking at these stories. Ekiti State. Government approves 165 million naira for rehabilitation of 2 schools. Military welfare, reps demand housing estates for veterans and widows. And NNPC forum dismisses claims of 210 trillion naira missing in accounts. 2027, Obi, Atiku, Amechi working together to stop Tinubu. And this is coming from ADC. And in economy, poverty rates jump 63% after subsidy removal. Middle East, anxiety mounts as oil price hits $100 per barrel. We are open for advert placements, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on X, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We're going for a short commercial break. When I return, I will introduce my guest for today. Welcome back. Still on Atlantic Blowout. In the studio with me this morning are two gentlemen, my Friday regulars. On my right, I have Mr. Mufasa. Good morning, Mufasa.
Yeah, good morning, Anthony.
How do you do?
I'm good.
Are you okay? You're not twinning with me? Not yet. Jaja, good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Antonio. You're looking good as usual.
Thank you. I try. All right, on that note, let's get into today's stories. Ekiti State government has approved about 165 million naira for reconstruction works at two special schools in the state. The Commissioner for Information, Taiwo Olatubosun, in a statement in Ado Ekiti on Thursday, listed schools as Government Special Schools, Ido Ekiti, and Government Special School for the Deaf, Ikoro Ekiti. Speaking on decisions taken at the State Executive Council meeting on Wednesday, Olatubosun said the council approved 85.73 million naira for the government special school, Idok Ekiti, covering reconstruction of field drainage systems and concrete landscaping of driveways and walkways within the school premises. Similarly, the government approved 88.94 million naira for the government special school for the deaf, Ikoro Ekiti, where erosion had severely affected drainage channels, driveways, walkways, and part of the school frontage. According to him, the interventions became necessary following the devastating impact of erosion on key infrastructure within the schools, including collapsed drainage channels, damaged walkways, compromised driveways, and in some cases, damaged perimeter fencing and assembly grounds. First, I would like to start with you on this note. Is this a step in the right direction? These are special schools, schools that on a normal are usually neglected, the vulnerable, the school for the deaf and what's not. But that aside, recently we saw a situation where in River State, somebody called the attention of the government towards the deplorable situation of a school, and then due to that, we saw how individuals came together to refurbish some of these schools in River State. Do you think that the Ekiti governor or government is taking cue of what's transpired in the past to, do the needful? Or you also think that maybe due to, elections drawing near and what's not, people are beginning to ask the right questions and they see the need to do the needful now?
Well, I will... Well, first of all, I need to commend the government of Ekiti State for being responsible, because I believe that leadership comes with a responsibility, and there's no gainsaying that education is the bedrock for any society that desire to advance. Most importantly, these sets of people I refer to as special people. So for me, I think it's a good one. I hope it's not the perception that a lot of people are having, like you mentioned in River State, where somebody raised an alarm of the dilapidated state of a school somewhere, and we saw how the whole thing played out. So for me, government should understand that the people's money should be used to better the life of the people. And if a government decides to invest in education, I would applaud that government. A lot of things we see happening in society today is as a result of illiteracy. A lot of people don't understand certain things. A lot of people are naive. A lot of people are ignorant, and anybody who falls within that category, can be easily manipulated. So for me, I think it's a good thing that they've approved such an amount. My only concern here is this money should not find its way into the pocket of private individual. It's not enough to approve such an amount of money. This money has been approved for so and so. The government should also ensure that whatever the money is meant for, the school should be built. All the facilities that they've mentioned should be well, constructed and established in the school, and it has to be completed in record time. As you mentioned, election is around the corner, and most of these things, before you know, they do it to a certain level, and that's the end. So, apart from all of these, approval, the excitement that it brings, the government should also understand that the people would ensure and monitor the progress and completion of the project. That's only when that you can get all the credit. That's my position.
Okay, and Jaja, let's speak about inclusiveness in government or in society. These special schools are very, very important because the school for the deaf and then the school, a special school as well. Like I rightfully pointed out in the beginning, that most often than not, it's usually neglected. The needs of these schools, institutions are neglected. We don't pay much attention to them like the way we give to the regular schools and all that. So what do you think about the Ekiti government now trying to include these special schools, ensuring that they also have the quality or somewhat quality education just as regular schools? They don't feel left out when it comes to education.
Well, investments, I've always stated that investments, in educational structure, it's a very welcome development. I mean, the more you invest in education, it's directly proportional to the outcome. You understand? See, ideas and things that the government do this period to be, electorally aligned. So I would say that I'll thank the Ekiti State government, for seeing the need, because, like you rightly mentioned, special needs education in Nigeria is something that the government have not invest so much in. So if the Ekiti State government, has come up, to put in, some finance in that department, then I see it as a very welcome development. I mean, people should understand that these things cost money everywhere, not just peculiar to our kind. There's no way ahead of everywhere. And for the Ekiti State government to come out and, look in this direction, I feel other states should follow suit and invest in this special needs. If investing in normal schools takes so much finance, talk more of special schools that need special attention. They're key details to how this institution functions. So it's a good one from the government. And I just hope that those people in charge, like Mufasa mentioned, should not pocket these funds, because these people are humans, and they should not be neglected in any way. They deserve quality education. Thank you.
All right, they deserve quality education. Moving on. House of Representatives on Thursday urged the federal government to establish housing estates across the country for retired military personnel and widows of officers who died in active service. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion moved by the member representing Igabi Federal Constituency of Kaduna State, Hussaini Jallo, during plenary. Leading the debate, Jallo said many members of the armed forces retire from service without access to decent and affordable housing, despite years dedicated to the service of the country. The lawmaker noted that several service-based housing institutions already exist within the country's security architecture, demonstrating the capacity to support such an initiative. Jallo further pointed out that the Federal Housing Authority is well placed to coordinate a nationwide scheme that will bring the various initiatives under a unified framework. Considering, our current security climate, where we have security personnel, giving their lives for the safety of our nation, and then sometimes even losing their lives, in the process. A situation whereby after they've left, they are usually the breadwinners of the family, and after they are gone, their children and widows are left unattended to. Sometimes, even where they are staying, especially if they were living in a barracks, after a couple of weeks or months, they are forcefully removed from that place, and they had to now sort themselves out. Do you think this new initiative, putting the welfare and then the well-being of the veterans and then widows, is actually a step in the right direction? Is it something that could encourage these soldiers to give in their all in securing our nation?
Well, I believe this is coming too late. I'm surprised that we don't even have such a scheme prior to this time. It's unfortunate and sad at the same time. Okay, not just retired military personnel, in as much as I strongly believe that they deserve to be given such, welfare recognition. I'm talking about civil servants generally. You don't put in almost 35, 40 years of your life, in serving this country, and at the end of the day, you cannot afford a decent home. So, how much more somebody who has paid the ultimate price in defending this country? So, it's a wake-up call. I believe the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Another best time is now. So no matter how late it is, I want to urge the government to consider this call with the exigencies that it deserves. It's not just judicial officers that deserve to live in a well-packaged, serene and decent environment. We see them building houses for judges and magistrates and all of that. I think the soldiers themselves, like you rightly said, some of them, after they have been killed, in action, and the widows get forcefully evicted from the barracks and thrown into the streets. Some of them, their kids, become destitute and willing tools in the hands of criminal elements because of that exposure they've had in the barracks, and the system has neglected them. So these are some of the things that we should have considered as a nation before now. That's why I said it's quite unfortunate that we do not have such a scheme existing before now. But now that they've decided to bring it up, the government should not hesitate to give it the desired attention and ensure that such a call is properly executed, and our civil servants, public servants, are given the kind of retirement that they deserve. That's my position.
Jaja, how about you? Would you say that our military personnel's needs are more often than not neglected, like the right policies that should be put in place to ensure that their welfare, other than maybe insurance, life insurance, ensuring their welfare, their well-being, even body parts, or ensuring that after active services, they have access to certain facilities, healthcare facilities, especially the mental health of these soldiers. Would you say the welfare and the needs of these soldiers here in Nigeria is neglected more often than not, especially considering the war we have in currently, or we are warring against terrorism right now? Should we not be doing more for these people who put their lives on the line to secure our nation?
Well, the move by the reps is well commended. I believe military veterans who have dedicated their life to national security should be an issue of national concern. Do you understand? The country should not neglect them in any way. You know, these people have come out, dedicated so many years of their life to protect, this nation from a lot of vices, insecurity, terrorism, and so have we. So schemes like this, it's something that should have been plain before time. I mean, these things boost the morale of soldiers. I was watching on the news which day, where they were calling on youths to join the army. When it's very funny. You should not be begging the youths to join the army at this stage. The youth should be willing. And what are the things that people see, and are willing to actually join the army? Aside from it being a, dedication from, each and every citizen to try their own best in their own little way to, protect their space and protect the country, I feel the military has more to offer to these people. They should do well to protect the interests of their veterans, because you cannot serve this country at the end of the day. You come back home and you cannot afford a decent meal. We've been saying it. Let's not lie that it's not in place already, but it's a good one that the reps is moving, forward with it. I feel that a serious attention should be, put into that objective. Our people deserve better. The people that protect this country deserve better. Not just the military, the police. Every force in Nigeria deserves better. I mean, they should see the dividends of their service. Not just the military, the civil service too. A lot of our mothers, our fathers in the society, served this country with all they had. And at the end of the day, when age comes and all that, most of the times are being neglected. But I believe that this administration, has put in some work, has put in some things in place to attend to the needs. But I really urge the government to do better, in things like this. It should not be something that should surface on the internet, and that people see that veterans go hungry after service. I mean, that will kill the morale of the younger soldiers, and also the youths or the people intending to join. That's my take on it.
Okay, and my last question, is it visible? Do you foresee Nigeria being able to implement these affordable houses or estates for these veterans and widows, or do you see it going the other way, where we see corruption, or we see misappropriation of funds, or it's just going to be another good policy on paper but very difficult to implement in the long run?
We have the capacity. When you talk about being able, I think we have more than enough resources to do it. We're talking about the willingness. That is the area where some of us will question the sincerity of purpose and intention. I keep saying that to make Nigeria a better place, it doesn't take the knowledge of nuclear physics. It's not rocket science. It only takes that willingness, that desire to accomplish, by a committed leadership. How long will it take, or how much will it take to, a well-decent housing estate for, people who have given their lives in serving the nation? We do that for the judges and the magistrates. How come we can't do it for soldiers and their families? So we have what it takes to do it. Now, whether there is a will or sincerity to do it, that is another kettle of fish. But now that it's in the public, the House of Reps, they are making a demand. I think what we just need to do is to keep our fingers crossed and watch how this government will take it. But as a Nigerian, I'm urging the government to see this as an opportunity to show to the people that they have the interest of our veterans at heart. If they don't do so, then you know, we'll keep having that loss of confidence in our government. And I think that doesn't then tell good of the leadership of this country.
And same thing to you, Jaja. Do you think this is doable, or do you foresee corruption and then misappropriation of funds meant for this project?
Oh, it is very durable. Nigeria, as we know, has the resources to handle these things. You know, the problem we're faced accumulated. Over time, we've seen this thing happen, and the right attention has not been placed on it. You understand? And I feel that instead of stressing this thing, or instead of keep talking about it, I feel action should now be taken. Now that the House of Reps has moved the motion for it, I feel that that motion should be well accepted. That motion should be well obliged. And the government should use this as an opportunity to at least regain the trust of the people. It's not just the people, to regain the trust of our veterans, our young soldiers, and also people who have the interest of joining the military. So it is very much doable, Tonya. It is very much doable. It just needs a collective effort of those people in charge, sincerity and honesty. You know, that's the virtue a lot of, peasants or a lot of people in charge of these societies, people in charge of these things lack. So I feel that the reform should happen in the military. There should be a total reform, and at the end of the day, if we have this reform, you see a lot of things change. So the government should see this as a wake-up call and should act on it vehemently. Thank you.
All right, let's move on. Coalition of professionals under the Ajiya Solidarity Forum has dismissed allegations that about 210 trillion naira is missing from the accounts of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Addressing journalists on Thursday, ASF National Coordinator Usman Hamza described the claim as mathematically impossible and politically motivated. The group's position is in response to a recent claim by the chairman of the Senate Public Accounts Committee, Ahmed Wadada, that the NNPC Limited could not account for about 210 trillion naira. Hamza said such a figure was misleading. He argued that the claim did not align with Nigeria's fiscal reality, noting that the country's entire 2024 national budget stood at 28.7 trillion naira. The forum also condemned threats to arrest former officials of the NNPCL, including former Chief Financial Officer Umar Ajiya, describing the move as part of a coordinated campaign of political blackmail. Is it really impossible to think that our oil sector, NNPC, should or it could generate these amounts of money? It's because from what the forum are saying that it's mathematically impossible, because it's their math is based on the fact that the federal government is perceiving or thinks they are meant to receive this from the NNPC. And in actual fact, this is what they receive. So it's mathematically not impossible or possible. What do you have to say concerning this, Mufasa?
Well, this coalition, I don't know if they are an auditing, company or a firm. Somebody raised an alarm that so and so amount of money is missing. I think what any reasonable Nigerian would do is to call for a proper investigation into the matter. By just coming out to dismiss the claim, wave it off like that, for me, doesn't make any sense. That's why some of these groups, it's very difficult to take them seriously. Okay. I'm aware that the NNPC has been a cesspool of corruption for a very long time, and we've not been able as a nation to unravel what is behind that high level of corruption in the NNPC. if you are aware, I'm sure you are, of several billions of dollars that have gone into that establishment and nothing is coming out of it. And that's the most worrisome part of it, that we put in so much into something and nothing is coming out, and we keep putting money into that. So for me, this coalition, I would urge them to be patient. They say a clear conscience, fear no accusation. So if they are calling it a witch hunt, I think the best they can do is to sit tight and relax, or call for an auditing, maybe a forensic audit, even though some of us have lost complete confidence in all of this audit and all of that, but we can still give it a try. But just coming to dismiss the position of somebody who has, raised an alarm of a missing fund from the NNPCL, I call that a very hasty move. It's not even within their purview alone, to do that. NNPC belongs to the entire country, and every citizen of this country has a say as to how they want that place to be run. So for me, I want the government to take this allegation seriously, without bias or prejudice, and do a transparent, open investigation. Let us, still see if this one will work out. Like I've said before, we had a lot of these allegations, and we do not see, the investigation follows to its logical conclusion, perhaps because of groups like this. Oh, you cannot prosecute our own. Oh, it's vision. So that's how it has always been.
But they are basing their statements on the fact that the 2024 budget was 28.7 trillion, but we are saying that almost 210 trillion is missing. So how can one company generate that amount of funds? They don't think it's possible.
That's what they think. I think it's only an auditing firm that can determine that. Okay, look at the current cost of crude. What was the benchmark of the sales of crude in our budgets? And how much crude is being sold today? So automatically our revenue income will shoot up. So it's not something you just sit in your house and begin to do your own mathematics. It's not, this economy doesn't work like that. Things could change. There could be a rise or a fall in the revenue accrued. So for me, the group should call for a proper investigation. If they are scared that, they are projecting a certain individual, so if they are scared that the person wants to be victimized based on one or two things, they can on their own decide, okay, let us make it transparent and see how the things pan out. But for just coming out to dismiss mathematically and all of that, I'm not buying that. We just want things to be followed to a logical conclusion, and let's see what's happening in that establishment.
Okay. Jaja, do you agree that this is just a political witch hunt against, the former management of the NNPCL? Because according to the group, it's like a targeted political witch hunt against the groups, and then threatening them with jail is not the right thing to do. But in a situation where corruption is suspected, is it wrong for an institution to be investigated? Or have we gone so backwards that anything related to investigation or probing into the affairs of a public holder or office holder seems to be politically tagged?
One question I would ask is the NNPC a secret establishment? Of course it's not. It's a good one that people actually come out. People pay attention to, details. People pay attention to things like this. So if a group has come out to, make a very robust claim, and according to the chairman, it's not an issue. At this point, what I feel should happen is, since NNPC is an establishment, owned by, all of us, owned by Nigeria, then investigation should not be a problem. Where I'll have a problem, or where the people's concern should be, is if NNPC is resisting a financial audit, if NNPC is resisting investigation. And I mean, if the body, the petroleum body, wants to prove all, sincerity and all, it's very simple. Call for a financial audit. you know, while I feel that this claim is very robust, but I don't want to rule out anything. You know, at this point, we should be very careful. That's why it's easy for any little thing, people blame Tinubu. You understand? At the end of the day, Tinubu works with everybody. Tinubu is not a one-man show. You know, all these organizations, everything, you know, works hand in hand with the president. So he cannot be here and there at the same time. He has put people in charge of, you know, a lot of these establishments. So if he who fears, you know, any claim should be open to investigation. So, or rather, he who fears no claim should be open to investigations. And I feel that NNPC at this point, there are a lot of news that has been coming from NNPC over the years, and I can understand why Nigerians are very, you know, doubting to this type of news. Obviously, there can, you know, the claims might be robust, but people say that in every talk, whether false or not, there's some level of truth inside. So in order to you know, totally mitigate everything the group has said, I feel that the body should call on an open investigation, and those in charge of this investigation.
I mean, the former board, the former representatives of the NNPC are being investigated, but this group is asking for it to be dropped because, according to them, these people have not done anything, and so they are just being politically witch-hunted.
Why should it be dropped? If they have not done anything, then there should be no need to fear any investigation. Do you understand? You know, it's high time we get it right in this country. We should not, because of our political, you know, alienation or so have we, feel that we're untouchable. You understand? If something is not wrong, you know, and they claim that they've not done anything, they should be open to the investigation. It's very simple.
Okay.
I mean, so we should be able to restore hope to our citizens, because at this point it is very unlikely that the average Nigerian would, you know, believe any news coming out from the NNPC, because they have lost because of the ideals over the years. Tinubu and this administration has, you know, over time inherited a lot of problems in different sectors. So at the end of the day, it's high time that these things are being tackled, and tackled vehemently.
Okay. African Democratic Congress, ADC, has said that its leading presidential hopefuls, Peter Obi, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and former Rivers State Governor Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, are working together with a common aim to stop President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the ruling All Progressive Congress from returning to power in 2027 general elections. The announcement came as the party unveiled One ADC, a political movement meant to bring together its members and supporters across age groups, social backgrounds, and political interests, as it prepares to challenge the ruling party in the presidential race. The development signals an early effort by opposition figures to rally around a single platform ahead of the 2027 contest, which is already shaping up as a potential showdown with Tinubu and the APC. National coordinator of the One ADC movement, Mrs. Loretta Chi, and former ADC national chairman, Dr. Ralph Nwosu, spoke during the unveiling of the initiative. According to her, the platform will ensure that supporters of Atiku and Amechi are able to work together as a team to confront the ADC in 2027. I think most people are like me. They can't wait to see how things pan out in ADC. I mean, these are very strong individuals on their own who have done a lot and proven themselves over time in whatever offices they may have held before, prior to this. And then these are also individuals that you could tell all want the #1 ticket, the presidential candidates. The ADC is hopeful that these people, due to, like I mentioned, their strengths that I had already pointed out, will be able to, you know, beat Tinubu and the APC come 2027. But then again, Mufasa, what what is the downturn for this? Because like I said, some people will say too many fish in a soup destroys the soup and whatnot. Do you see future turmoil within the ADC, or do you think that these people can't coordinate themselves and then unseat the APC come 2027?
Well, opposition, they will always want to look for an opportunity to shine. Okay, I'm happy that we are beginning to see a viable opposition. The PDP, they fail to provide that, and a democracy without a viable opposition, we can't call that a proper democracy. Now, whether the ADC as a political party has what it takes to give the APC a run for their money, that's another talk for another day. But I believe that it's a good thing that they are planning. It's also a good thing that they're trying to close their ranks, and ensuring that they present a united, formidable force in the elections that is to come. Whether they'll be able to remove the sitting president and the APC from office, that I cannot tell categorically. But whether they can give the APC a run for their money, I think that's very possible. We have some very influential politicians, individuals who have come together in that party. It was just only yesterday that some senators, some lawmakers, senators and House of Rep members defected into the party. So it's left for them to put their house in order. And they should also ensure to give Nigerians a clear-cut agenda. It shouldn't be about, the sole aim is to remove the APC from office. That was the same approach that the APC adopted, in the build-up to the 2015 general elections, when former President Goodluck Jonathan was ousted out of office through an election. So the ADC, they have enough time to convince Nigerians that it's not going to be business as usual, because of the truth, some of us have lost complete confidence in politicians. We see them as, people who are determined to serve their I don't know what to put it now, self-aggrandizement. Those, they just want to acquire power for themselves, not for the people. So the ADC should be prepared to be able to convince Nigerians that this is not what it has always been, that they have a different, a different approach that the people would believe. But by and large, I think they are building up very strong, and what we just do is to sit and, cross our hands and see how things unfold. But most importantly, they have enough time to, build that formidable force, work on their unity, and, show to Nigerians that they have that sincerity of purpose and intention.
Okay. How about you, Jaja? Do you think that these opposition figures have what it takes, as long as they're able to work out the differences, to unseat Tinubu come 2027? I mean, Peter Obi, Amechi, and then former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. These are strong individuals when it comes to politics, very influential individuals as well. Do you see them giving, like Mufasa said, the APC a run for their money come 2027?
Opposition. Well, political alliances, are very, very normal in every democratic society. So opposition coming together, to collaborate, to oust the incumbent is totally normal. I must commend them, but according to Deuteronomy 28:7, which says, the Lord will scatter those, the enemies who gather in your name. They might be coming for you at one way, and the Lord will scatter them in 7 ways.
What are you trying to say? So
Well,
who is the Lord scattering in this
I
instance?
don't know.
I mean,
However,
you should know because you're the one preaching.
I mean,
so.
however the viewers might see it, however you might want to interpret it, that is left for you. That's your onus. So what I'm trying to say is, the opposition should try their best. You know, God help them. But we should also know that God is with Tinubu. God is with this administration. The administration is doing so much, you know, in economic reform, educational reform, you know, reform in every sector. So I don't know who the Lord wants to scatter and who the Lord wants to protect. But I pray that the Lord protects he who has the best interest of the nation at heart. And that's all I have to say about this matter.
Okay, that's all he has to say about this matter. Professor, do you have anything else to say concerning this matter?
He spoke in
Parables.
biblical languages. You know. I don't know if it's King James Version. He failed to provide that information to us.
Well, different.
Basically for me, and I always stand by that, that a democracy without a viable opposition, you know, is a complete far cry. So if the ADC think they have what it takes, you know, to set the record straight, you know, to put the ruling party on its toes, I don't have a problem with that. And for me, I mean, not agree with the position of Hartley here when he says that the president has done so much in the economy and you know, because when a leader is doing well, you feel it in the lives of the people that is leading. And if you go to the streets of Nigeria today, Nigerians are complaining bitterly about the hardship that, you know, that we are being faced with in this country. So,
but Mufasa, you'd agree with me that economic reforms, you know, may create a little bit of discomfort.
But that's if there is, you know, a policy direction. You'll be seeing it, you know, playing out. It's not something that like an egg being incubated. You only get to see the chick when, you know, the chicks are hatched. Economic reform, you get to see the gradual. It's not like something that would hide. You'll be seeing it, you know, producing results, even it's at a very small level, you know. But what we see and hear in Nigeria is we have figures. We just we see them coming out to tell us stories. You know, it's not reflecting in any facet of Nigerians' life. We just hear.
Okay.
We are not seeing. So that's the point. If you say you are doing economic reforms and Nigerians are not feeling the impact, what we are feeling is hardship. And if any reform that is giving more hardship to the people, I don't know where that reform is leading to. You know, it's only a living human being that can enjoy any form of reform. That if we're all dead, I don't know who will enjoy the reform that the administration thinks is giving to Nigerians. But by and large, leaders are responsible to the people they are leading, especially in a democracy. That is it. That's all. And, you know, we can't shy away from that.
Okay.
You know.
All right, speaking of the economy, about 63% of Nigerians fell below the poverty line after the removal of petrol subsidy, according to a new study that examined the welfare impact of the country's recent economic reforms. The research presented at a stakeholders dialogue organized by Agora Policy in Abuja on Thursday showed that the national poverty headcount rose sharply from a baseline of 49.8% to roughly 63% following the removal of subsidy, before moderating slightly after the introduction of social protection measures. The dialogue themed Sustaining and Deepening Economic Reforms in Nigeria brought together policy stakeholders, economists, civil society leaders, and private sector representatives to examine the effects of the federal government's reform agenda. Among those present were the Deputy Governor for Economic Policy at the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Mohammed Abdullahi, the Special Advisor to the President on Finance and Economy, Ms. Sonyada Okoli, the World Bank Senior Economist for Nigeria, Dr. Sama Mata, the Country Director of CARE International, Dr. Husseini Abdu, and the Executive Director of Agora Policy, Waziri Adio, among others. The study, presented by a senior lecturer at the Department of Economics, University of Abuja, Dr. Mohammed Shaibu, analyzed the economic and social consequences of key reforms introduced by the federal government, including the removal of petrol subsidy and adjustments in electricity tariffs. President Bola Tinubu had announced the end of petrol subsidy during his inaugural address on May 29, 2023. So I think this basically goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. So I'll start with you on this one, Jaja.
Exactly.
Would you now, yes, would you now defend your earlier statement that Tinubu's reforms has been for the better? I mean, according to reports, you had the key figures mentioned in there. These are not like, key figures, economists, social, civil society groups, and then CBN governors, economists, and all that. These are key individuals that were present. So it's not a report that was pulled out of anywhere. From 43%, we've now seen a high, spike to 63% people in Nigeria living below the poverty line, especially due to some of these economic reforms. What do you have to say concerning that?
Well, like I stated earlier, economic reforms, may toll on the people, but it's just for a short period of time. The oil shock we're experiencing today in Nigeria has nothing to do with Tinubu. It's as a result of the, geopolitical crisis, the global crisis we're having in the Middle East, and while it's very easy to point a finger at the president, which is totally normal. I mean, he's a commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria. We should understand that the president has little or nothing to do concerning the global crisis. But let's talk about Nigeria. When the subsidy was removed, it was not just a Tinubu thing. Even the social media candidate, as of that time.
Who is a social media candidate?
I don't know.
You don't know. So why are you making claims you have no?
No, because there were lots of things said in the social media, and we should not bring a lot of those things on air, because the social media candidate or candidates, because I don't want to sound personal, so it might be one person, it might be you, it might be me, it might be who you know, but what I'm trying to say is, these persons also came out to say that immediately they enter, they would remove this subsidy. So why is it that Tinubu did the same thing and everybody is crying foul? That's because of the personal hate.
But he did not say immediately.
No,
let's not twist facts. He said.
Who is the person that did not say
immediately? Peter Obi.
Is it the social media candidate?
I don't know if that's who you're referring to as social media, but what I do know is that some of the presidential candidates, like Peter Obi, had mentioned previously that if they come in, they're going to remove fuel subsidy, right? But they did not say they are going to do it immediately. One, and two, without a cushion for the people, the effect on the people. We're not talking about the recent happenings, right? We're talking about since the removal of fuel subsidy, the poverty line has gone really up. Things are going up and never coming back down again. People are suffering. And it's not just about the fuel subsidy, it's a lot of economic reforms. It's saying that we need time. So from 2023 to 2026, is it not enough time for things to have, stabilized for the people?
Well, the thing is, you should understand that this administration inherited a lot of garbage. You understand? I've always noted, I've always told people, like I've always said, that Rome cannot be built in a day. Tinubu on his end did what he did at the time he did it, because it is very timely. Why would a country that is, lacking lacking in funding in a lot of, societal things, in a lot of things that we are supposed to be investing so much in, like security, like education, and we're using most of those fundings to hold down petrol, to hold down the price of the pump. I mean, it's only ideal that he kicked off, the removal of subsidy as at when he did it. Because the best way to win a fight is to start it at the beginning. Because at this time, yes, are people suffering? Yes. I wouldn't push that aside. We're all feeling the toll. But just like I said, economic reforms, is something that will affect the people. But this is a brunt that we as a nation, we as a citizen, would have to face for the meantime. I know that it is not easy. Tinubu has not had it easy, but you wouldn't tell me that he's not putting in efforts. I know that the people are crying. A lot of persons are coming out. The poverty rates by the statistics is quite high. But I believe that we're a step in the right direction. Slowly, with the reforms and everything put in place by this administration, I believe that with time we'll get it. And that is why a lot of persons, are clamoring for the re-election of President Tinubu.
Okay.
So that he will continue.
I think this is where
so that he will continue.
I don't know, there are a lot of people. I'm not.
There are a lot of
you're not here to campaign.
I'm not campaigning. I'm not campaigning.
Because I don't.
You don't see.
I'm
them.
not seeing it. I'm not hearing it.
I'm not saying I am.
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
What I'm saying is that
I don't know what you're saying.
The people should give the government a chance.
Okay.
See, we should not always Tinubu this, Tinubu that. There's nothing that Tinubu does that is actually good to the eyes of the people who don't want to see good in this administration.
Okay.
You should know that the administration are putting in things.
Okay.
And these things will not take a day. Tinubu is not a magician. You understand? He cannot just come a day and everything will be settled. You can agree with me that there are a lot of, yes, we might have not gotten it, the government might have not gotten it right, in totally right in this section. But we should look at other sectors. There are other places that, the money meant to subsidize this fuel has been moved into. Sectors like education, sectors like security. I mean, this is the first that we read on the news just earlier, where, the reps are moving on, military housing for our veterans. Where is this money coming from? Are we picking it from the trash? It has to be moved from places to actually, go into other sectors. We should understand the toll will be hard on every citizen. But this is the price that we all have to pay for a better society, for a Nigeria you clamor for a Nigeria I clamor for a Nigeria that we all can live, breathe, and eat peacefully. Thank you.
I don't know when to say you're welcome, but Mufasa, what do you have to say concerning this, that due to the economic reforms, the people are suffering? I mean, we do understand that to shake up a government or to shake up a nation, you need to, shake things up a bit. But the people are saying, before you do that, there should be some sort of cushioning, to alleviate the suffering of the people. The people are suffering, 60% increase in poverty line. Meanwhile, the people in power, one would say, are having the time of their lives. So would you agree with Jaja that we need to give the government time for these reforms to take shape? Or do you have a different opinion concerning this?
The government has just barely a year to, to wind up. I mean, giving the government time, I don't know if the time extends to his time after he leaves office, or if he gets the opportunity to be re-elected, but I could still remember this president promised Nigerians that if he doesn't give us regular power supply in his first 4 years in office, that we shouldn't consider him for another opportunity. He said it with his mouth,
And you think he has not kept to that promise?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't sleep with lights in my house. A lot of people are complaining about, incessant grid collapse. Asu Rock has been disconnected from the national grid, so that does not spark off of an administration that is ready, to give Nigerians steady power, so that I do not need to look for money to buy a diesel power generator, excuse me, or a petrol power generator for me to set up a business. So for me, we're expecting more from the president and this administration, and there's nothing wrong in having high expectations for a leader that has sworn to give Nigerians the best, Then, this report, I wasn't the one that brought out the report, 63%. In fact, I think it's more than that. If you go out to the street and you feel the pulse of the people. But let me just conclude by saying that as a Nigerian, you deserve the best and nothing less. So we will not settle for less. We will not settle for explanations. We will not settle for excuses, because we've given them all that they need to give us quality leadership. We buy cars for them. We buy clothes for them. We feed their vehicles. We feed them. And we are hungry. We feed them. So we need the best and nothing short of that. That's my position. Thank you.
You're welcome, gentlemen. We need the best and nothing but the best. Unfortunately, our time is up and we have to wrap it up on this episode. Jaja, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tonya.
Okay, I see you standing very strongly.
On the mandate.
I'm a public affair analyst, like I said.
Okay. Mufasa, thank you so much for, always making the time as well.
Yeah,
and then balancing the equation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a city boy, you are a what?
I'm a village boy.
I
never said on TV that I'm a city boy.
City boy and a village boy.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for watching, and it's always an opportunity to be a privileged opportunity.
Thank you as well. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube at Snantec Television Network, Instagram and TikTok at Snantec TV Network 1, and on X at Snantec TV Net. Watch us live on our website www.snantecnetwork.tv. Remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Open conversation comes up shortly. Please don't go away. Thank you for watching. I am Antonia Arceville.